Hello, my replay viewers. Thank you so much for joining me. This is a special edition of Lunch Bites, as you can tell. It's going to be your dinner bites. Hi guys, thanks so much for joining. I have been a very busy girl today, so as you may have noticed, Lunch Bites didn't happen at lunchtime. It's happening at dinner time because even though I was busy today, we've got news that's too good not to cover. So thank you guys so much for joining. If you're here for the first time, my name is ChelseaRoadman and I do a daily news show, and I like to call it some sort of meal bites. So lunch bites, dinner bites, something so you have great conversation starters, because these are headlines that will certainly start some conversations. So if you're not following me, please do so by just swiping right on your iOS device or up or down on your Droid. And in addition, if you could invite your followers, I would love to hear what their thoughts are on these pieces of news that I can't wait to share with you guys. So like I said, please invite your followers, and let's go ahead and dive in. We've got some interesting things to cover. Thank you for that heart. That's wonderful. All right, guys, here we go. Headline number one for Thursday, April 21st. Here we are, headline number one. We're going to start here at home with that Flint water crisis that you may have heard about. The Detroit Free Press reported on Wednesday morning that criminal charges have now been filed against two officials in the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality. I believe their names are Mike Presby and Stephen Bush. But the interesting thing is, they were charged in addition to city official Mike Glasgow, who's Flint's laboratory and water quality supervisor. So they definitely got more than just a slap on the hand for that. Moving on to headline number two. Now this one I find extremely interesting, you guys, and you're gonna want to hear about it so you don't think you're playing with fake Monopoly money next time you get a $20 bill from the ATM. Apparently, in major news, Harriet Tubman will now be the face of the $20 bill, replacing our Andrew Jackson. And you can't say, give me a Jackson. You're going to have to say, give me a Tubman. Jackson will now take the back of the bill. So it's going to be Harriet Tubman now on the front of the $20 bill, and Andrew Jackson will now take a place on the other side. Treasury Secretary Jack Lew announced that this abolitionist, Harriet Tubman, will be the face of the $20 bill. And what's funny is that meanwhile, zeitgeisty Alexander Hamilton, he was originally supposed to be replaced. But they're going to keep him on the $10 bill. So, I don't know. Did they change their mind? I don't know what happened, but just so you know, it's not a fake. Alexander Hamilton, he'll still be your $10 bill, but expect Harriet Tubman to show up very quickly on your $20 bills. I'm going to find that very interesting to see. All right, moving on to headline number three, a spotlight on Brazil's first female president. Now that might sound like a victory, except she may now be facing impeachment charges for allegedly hiding budget deficits. Now, that's normal, you want to hide some budget issues, but the Brazil's first female president has been accused of concealing budget deficits to strengthen her re-election campaign for 2014 for that prospect. And Article 85 in the Brazilian Constitution stipulates that infringing on budget laws is a crime for which a president can be impeached. So it looks like she definitely did a major no-no on this one. Hopefully, I sort of just want to take her side and be like, she didn't do it. But, politics, guys, anything can happen. So let's move on, you guys. Number four's headline is to be in the know. Now, have you ever wondered how long you were going to live? Well, they've got new research out that is, interesting to say the least. White women saw a slight decline in life expectancy for the first time since 2005, while black men saw a slight increase. So white women born in 2014 were reportedly on average expected to die about 1 month earlier than those born in 2013, meaning they were they were slated to apparently have life expectancy until age 81.1. We're getting detailed here. Okay, and then Hispanic women are now seeing a slight increase. So instead of 83.8 years, it looks like now they are going to be looking at a life expectancy of a whole 84 years. So you got a little, 0.7 more years going on. Black women saw no changes in life expectancy and held a steady rate at about 78.1 years. I don't know if that means a whole lot. I don't know if you should bank on it. But it's kind of interesting to see the studies and statistics that they're doing about life expectancies. All right, moving on to number 5. We have got some interesting things from, what in the world is the topic? Women's life expectancy. Does that not depend on genetics? Yes, absolutely. It depends on genetics. It depends on where you live. It depends on how you take care of your body. But it looks like that they have just done some research and found that there's a trend apparently in these different ethnic groups and their life expectancies. Like I said, don't put too much stock into it, but it is a little bit interesting just to kind of see what the trends are. Let's put it that way. All right, number 5, lawyer up. Here's something that's going to have quite the backlash, I'm sure. Whole Foods plans to sue a gay Texas man who accused the chain of writing a homophobic slur on cake. All right, so what does that mean for a Russian like yourself? Well, you're not in the study, so I guess your life expectancy is just forever. How about that? Cake, yes. So you know how you can go in and have like happy birthday written on cake, something like that? Apparently, Whole Foods and a Texas pastor are in a legal battle over one allegedly very offensive cake. It's amazing what a time to be alive in the news when cake is now offensive. Whole Foods Market announced Wednesday morning that it plans to file the suit against this man. His name is Jordan Brown. He's an openly gay Texas man who's publicly accused the chain, legal batter equals illegal cake. I shouldn't be laughing at that. That just but it's still kind of funny. Back to my serious face. But he did accuse the chain of writing a homophobic slur on the cake he purchased from the bakery department. Now, I had to do a little more research into this, and because I wanted to know, maybe not broadcast it, but I kind of wanted to know what this slur was, because he's filing for under emotional distress. That's what he's filing. That's what he's saying as his defense. The reason Whole Foods is suing him instead of vice versa is because he originally apparently spoke to one of the people in the bakery and they apologized. However, they realized, serious date, LOL, come on, are you on YouTube? Good camera presence. I am on YouTube. Thank you for asking. Go ahead and find me at youtube.com/ChelseaRoadman. It's the same username as on here, and I hope you'll follow me there. I upload all of my periscopes there, and I'm actually about to start a new YouTube specific series, so I'd love for you to join me on that adventure, so please go subscribe to that and make sure you're following me on here. Thank you so much for asking that question. But yeah, I had to look this up. Apparently, are you a reporter? I do. I have a background in reporting. You can see over here. I have a degree in journalism, broadcast journalism, as well as public relations. I just love to let you guys know crazy things that are happening in the world. Some good, some bad. I like the good, of course. But then things like this happen. So apparently, he talked to someone in the bakery and they apologized. Yay, you're a communications major yourself. High five. There, that was our high five. All right, yeah, yes, serious face. Back to the story. Although, make sure you go follow me on here and on 10 and on make sure you go follow me on YouTube. Okay, but anyway, what I was saying, I will go on. All right. So anyway, the customer was upset about the slur, apparently. Then someone from the bakery apologized. The guy leaves. But then they look at the surveillance camera and they determine that there was no racial or homophobic slur put on the cake by any of the employees. So I don't know if it wasn't actually ever there, or someone came in to do it, or he tried to frame them. I don't know. It's a kind of crazy story. And so then they called him from the bakery and said, sir, you know, we've done research into this and no employee had put a slur on there, you know. Yeah. But then this guy made a big deal about how Whole Foods just treated him wrong. And so that's why now Whole Foods is the one filing the suit. Because at first I thought, why isn't it the guy? But now the whole thing's shady, and I hope we have some follow-up stories because I really want to know the truth behind that. Wish I could get a look at the security footage. But anyway, let's move on to story number 6 out of 8. We're almost done, you guys. It's a fun fact, and it's kind of techy. You know, Tech Talk is my favorite thing to cover. But this was really pretty interesting. San Francisco is the first major U.S. city to require solar panels on all building structures that have 10 stories or less. 10 stories or fewer are now going to have solar panels, which is kind of a cool thing. I hope that the lights are still very bright and everything, but there's plenty of sun in San Francisco. The cool thing about this, though, is that analysts estimate that resulting solar installations after this mandate could help avoid 26,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide annually. So that means nothing to you. However, if we use the EPA's handy dandy little greenhouse gas calculator, that is the equivalent of taking 5,500 cars off of the road. 5,500 cars off the road, just using those solar panels on those buildings it's the equivalent. Well, I think that's pretty cool. I like that that's an initiative they're going to do, and I'd like to see that in more cities. I think that's really a great initiative. So, go San Francisco. Hopefully it will go well. America started importing oil to EU today. I read 3 to 5 sources a day in multiple countries. Well, I'm glad I don't have to report on oil usage and all that jazz. It just could get depressing up in here, y'all. Alright, so let's move on to our second to last story. It's a bit of a spoiler alert. The runaway hit book, The Girl on the Train, is making its way to theaters this fall. Hello! Guess who's back again? I see you. I think you're going to have to watch the replay because we're almost done, but I hope you do. Or watch it on YouTube. I'm going to, not depressing, Depends on your take, depends on the story, but you just got here. I'm sorry. But I have 2 stories that you can hear, and then you can watch the replay, or you know I'm going to have it on YouTube. I put everything on YouTube. I didn't follow you on Twitter. Oh, no. Okay, I will. Look, I'm going to have a pen right here, and I'm making a note to myself. Twitter. What's your handle? JDizzySwish21. JDizzySwish21. I know it's really crappy handwriting because I wrote it so quickly, but the note is there, mister. So, I'll have a new follower soon. Alright, so what I was talking about is our 7th headline. It ain't that serious, bro. I did tell him I would follow him, so I'm gonna do it. I always follow my word with you guys. Runaway hit book, The Girl on the Train, is making its way to theaters this fall. So, the world got a peek at the first trailer for the film, and spoiler, it's just as creepy as we hoped. Emily Blunt stars as Rachel, an unstable alcoholic who used to be married to Tom, played by Justin Theroux, and gets caught up in a twisted murder mystery. Ooh. So that might be one that you guys want to check out. Hello, Alexa. Thanks for joining us. We're actually going on our last bit of news, so I hope that you will watch the replay because there have been some very interesting stories today, I must say. Alright, so our last piece of news is some world news, and this place crawls with desperate creeps, not this channel per se. Talk about Prince. I know. So yes, you guys, Prince has unfortunately passed away. It is so sad. I mean, we're losing all of these like big superstar names, and you know, he had a cold and it turned into the flu. Yeah, you called BS. I kind of wondered that too. Maybe it was because of medications he took for it. We've still got Donald Trump. Okay, you guys don't make me crack up laughing that easily, but that was a funny comment. Anyway, so yeah, that is a piece of news that is very sad to deliver. I'm very sad about that. One thing though that I will like to finish off our newscast here with, properly follows up yesterday's 420 date. It's world news, guys. Canada has announced a plan to legalize recreational marijuana use next year in 2017. So I'm kind of wondering, you know how they're trying to blockade our borders so no one comes in? Well, they may not have a problem because people may be going to Canada instead. Yes, Canada is what I said. They've announced a plan to legalize recreational use of marijuana. Canada gonna need, I know, Canada's gonna start having a ton of random immigrants too, I think. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. I'm pretty sure that a lot of Americans on that border will be flooding in. And I can only imagine what that's going to breed. So we'll definitely keep up with that one. Jason, I think it's Trudeau, is making good on his campaign promises as his Liberal government will introduce a law next spring, so just a year from now, aiming to decriminalize the drug. Canadian Health Minister Jane Philpott expressed her conviction to do this and says that sensible reform was the way to proceed. And her quote is that, "We know it is impossible to arrest our way out of this problem. So I suppose that their solution is to legalize their way out of the problem." So definitely some interesting news following up yesterday's 420 date. As you know, I do not condone the use or obtaining of anything illegal or drug-wise, but I will bring you news. I will bring you the latest, and that's the way the cookie crumbles. All right, thanks for that sign out, and you guys have a great evening. I'm about to follow you on Twitter. All right, bye, kids.